welcome back to part 3 of the Firetruck development tutorial in Roblox. So, in the last episode, part number 2, we got pretty much here. In between episodes, I did a little bit of fixing to the gaps. I still left this one as a part because we're going to need that in a little bit. And I also fixed, there was another gap somewhere here. Sometimes if you run into gaps, it's the unioning, so you may need to play around with it. Depending on how you union the parts together could change if there will be a gap or not. Sometimes play around with it, and eventually you should fix it. Unfortunately I had to split this one up into 2 pieces, so what I did was I cut out the door shape and then added a negative part, which is corresponding in shape to this. This hinge, but then I extended it into the door so we didn't have one of those lines from episode 1. Okay, so what I need to do is, I just noticed something here. Isn't there? Yes, there is. Right here we have another one of those metal pieces, and I did not cut it out. I think it flows with the door, so we should be okay. See, it's a good thing you catch these things. Yeah, once again, what I did was I cut out the door shape and just cut out this part here. So unfortunately, I had to use more than one part, which I'm not really fond of, but it's the easy way to work. So that's what I did. Okay, so I'm looking for this part. And then I have to figure out the dimensions that we need to cut it as. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part and size it. I'm going to start with the back door. I think they should be the same width, so that should make my life easier. And it's also the same width this way, as the same length as this one to this one, and the same thickness between these two. Okay, so let me go all the way down till I reach the bottom. Now I want to make this just regular medium stone gray. I can change the color and material later on once I get there. Okay, so now I move this part, yep, exactly as I said, the same length. There we go. So that should be the proper size, yep, lines up perfectly. Now I want to bring this up. Oh god, what the hell? Contact help, I don't want to do that. No. Okay. Try not to misclick buttons, otherwise that happens. So, okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this part. I'm going to duplicate this real quickly since I want to leave it there, because I'm going to need it there. This is only for my reference, so I know where to size this part that I'm trying to cut. I'm going to put it in front. There we go. So then I'm going to move this over to here. And there it is. So now this is one part that extends all the way to there. And then I'm going to hold control so that way I can select multiple parts at once. Selecting them is very handy. Now I'm going to negate, and this should all work. I have extra negative part, which I'm going to union to here. So that way we don't have that gap like we did in the last episode. Alright, so as you can see, this one's a flat block, so we're going to have to cut it. Easy peasy. We're going to need to duplicate the door. Once again. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of the wedge. Get rid of the window, extra door. This is really all I'm looking for, so that way I can just union this. Click of a button, perfect shape. There it is. Alright, so now we can move this back in its spot. There we go. So now we have these pieces there, and they're probably going to be some kind of metal texture. I'll see how that goes later on. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up just there for now. And I think what I can do is I'm going to have to take this, duplicate it, and I need to get that wedge again that cuts this top part out. Alright, so I'm not really concerned with this, so what we can do is just drag, and delete, 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 and delete. So that way we only are left with this. You can do this with one part. I think I'm just going to do it with 3. So that way I can just run the top lower half, this the slope part, and then this top half. So the bottom half is over here on this side, then the slope, and then the top half. So just put that generally in the middle. There you go. Doesn't have to be perfect. I can actually extend this as far as I want, because we can fix that later. Ooh, I just realized something. We can use... I'm going to duplicate this, rotate it. So, 2 triangles, when you have a diagonal line, 2 right triangles together make a rectangle. So now if we move this here, now we have a gap between the 2 that is just wide enough for us to make the shape of our part. So I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to put that there, run it down until I reach where I want to put it. So there we go. If you notice, you can actually pretty much make the Roblox Studio logo using this, because that's the line. All you just need is a square in the middle to cut it out again. Then color it light blue. Alright, there it is. There's a little bit of something that we can do. Okay, so now we have a nice clean edge right here. And then I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate this part here, move it down to where the lower half is going to be. And we have another clean edge on the bottom here. Perfect. It's nice. Now, if you're into geometry, sine, cosine, tangent, you can find the perfect slope of this, but normally I don't generally care. Just find out what looks nice and move on with it. Alright, look back at my reference again. The top part, this white part, does not wrap around the truck. Good. It actually goes to more of the edge of the front door. That'd be more here. There we go. Don't need that part. Perfect. So I'm going to move the template back so you can see what we're doing. Perfect. So now we have a wall of pretty much one side of the engine cab. We have another window. I'm not going to get to that yet until we start working on the thickness of this wall. Because right now this is more there for just a color scheme. This will help us out a lot. Speaking of color scheme, we can negate some things and add in the striping for the trucks. But I don't have any decals yet. so I might need to hold off on that. So generally, I like to make my truck width from the left side to the right side 10.1 studs wide. I don't know how it ended up as 0.1. That's just what I started doing when I started making the FDNY trucks. Oh, I'm holding down control. Whoops. Undo. Okay, so now we want to look at the measurement on the corner in the Properties tab until we reach 10.1 right there. Now, I also extend the rims out a little bit, but I'm going to check the exact measurement. I'm pretty sure it's 10.3.1 on both sides. But for now, this is fine. Alrighty. So as you can see here, the rim is only a part of a circle. It's not even a full circle. So there's another little circle that we have to take out of it. That's what we're gonna do. Fix that. There we go. So I'm going to duplicate this. Then I'm going to drag down until that's lined up. There it is. Alright, so now we have this lined up inside of this other original cylinder. Then, like we do with every other negative part, we want to make it bigger than the part that we're trying to cut it out from. So, hold control, and there we go. Okay, so the rim, we want it to end at about the same edge that this comes down as, which is easy. So we can actually go and change, in the Properties tab, we can go and change the cylinder shape into a block. And then all we have to do is simply resize it to where we want it to line up right there. Then make it a little bit bigger. Oh, whoops, I think I actually just deleted my other part. Let's try that again. All right. Perfect. And we're going to make this wider. There we go. All right, so now we can union these. So now we can have one single negative part. And that will be the rim. But before I do that, we're going to need to figure out how wide we're going to make this, because we need a little bit of an extension on the rims. If it's flat, it doesn't look good. 10.3 looks good. There we go. Perfect. So now we have our rims. It's okay if this goes all the way through the truck, because number one, the carpeting, the flooring is going to cover it over. Because the floor, if you look here, the floor doesn't actually start until you get to the top of the diamond plating inside of the truck. So there's actually a little bit of height inside of the truck, which is why you need so much height on the top of the truck, because the floor is actually lifted. It's not actually low to the bottom of the truck. And a lot of the equipment actually goes over the top of this rim. You don't even see it inside of the cab, but a lot of times they have these city trucks that have the entire... They have basically a divider that runs down the middle like a wall, because it's literally covering the top of the rim, or the wheel well. Alrighty. So we still have a little bit of a gap here, because there's going to be some diamond plating here. This is where we're going to have our steps. And the San Diego Fire Department actually has something pretty cool where they have the corners tapered on the steps. So it's not just sticking out like a solid block. It actually is somewhat tapered on both sides. So that's something that we're going to work on. I want to see... Can I find a regular part? Here. You basically just copy off all the parts that you already worked with, because it makes your life easier. So, all right, I'm going to bring the template all the way over here. There we go. So here is where our step is going to be. Oh, this actually, yeah, this actually sticks down a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Just like that. Now, how much do we want it to stick out? Probably... that looks a little big. I think that works. This is 0.9? Oh, that's interesting. Alright. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this... See, sometimes you just have to sit here and kind of think about how you're going to lay it out before you actually lay it out. So this is 0.5, and then I want to go out another 0.15. Yeah, that looks good. Perfect. Okay, so you can decide to do whatever measurement you want if you get into this situation. What I like to do is I make my diamond plating pearl because it looks better than medium stone gray. Because if you make it medium stone gray, it looks way too dark to be diamond plating. Sure, you can find this, but this isn't diamond plating on a Firetruck. Diamond plating on a Firetruck usually has a nice sparkle color, like a nice light gray, shiny metal color. So just something to note. All right. Now I'm going to duplicate this part, and we want to make this, it has a little straight up wall. And that's what I'm going to make. So this is actually behind this piece here. And I'm going to go up to, we reach the bottom of the door. Alrighty. And that's where that's going to be. And we're going to have to do some negating. Which is okay. That's what that's going to look like without this. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this piece and then use this cylinder, which we already have right here. That looks much better. Because if you use the inside cylinder that we cut out from the rim, you're going to see the diamond plating sticking out on the rim, which is not how real life works. Alright, there we go. This is starting to look pretty good. Starting to come along very nicely. So we're going to get a part, and we're going to fill in this part, this side. It really doesn't matter how thick it is because this is going to be hidden away in the inside anyway, but I don't want to make it too big in case we need the room later. And then I'm going to, I don't know, should I make the wall here or a little bit further back? I'll do further back. Not in that direction. There we go. I'm actually going to make sure that this is a little bit bigger because if we don't do that, you might see a little gap. That's nice. That is very nice. And this is the same thing in the back. But we may have to do a little bit of resizing and repositioning. Now we can keep this cylinder right where it is, and all we have to do is just move this square part. So that should line up. There we go. And then we also have another step at the back. We're just going to stick out. Perfect. This is really starting to look like a fire truck now that we have that step. So then we have to do the tapered edges, which is not very hard, not very difficult. But we're going to need a wedge. I know a place where we can get 2 wedges, even though we're only going to use one of them. So this one, we're just going to position it here, separate it, or negate it, just to make it a regular part again, and then I'm going to size it. So now, alright, we have to turn it anyway, so that works. And then I have to rotate it again this way. There we go. Now it's perfectly positioned, so that way we won't have any kind of gaps or anything like that. So I want to size it to what the tapered edges are going to be sized as. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. And once again, we're going to double it. So we don't need to double the thickness of the height. This is fine right where it is. Oh, actually, we just need to extend it up 1 using the control. So 1 on each side. So that way we don't get into any of those issues that we ran into with unions where we get those lines that happen. Okay, so 0.2 times 2 is 0.4. Then 0.3 times 2 is 0.6. There we go. Perfect. We don't have to worry about this going through this block because this is not part of it. And you can actually make this entire setup right here out of one part. But for now, I think this is the easiest method to do for this tutorial. So now we're going to duplicate. Then we're going to flip it around 180 degrees like that. And move it over to the other side. We have to make sure that this is lined up the way that we want it. So let's check. I think it is. Yeah, one of the issues when you have parts that are spaced out like this is that you may run into the lines or the arrows or the dots. So that's when I would just use the Properties tab and control select them. Those are the tapered edges. Very nice steps. So that's what this is going to look like on this back one. But remember that we're going to need these on the front. We can keep them the same size. That would work. Or we can change them if we want to. I think it looks good this way, so that way it's nice and even on both sides. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we have done the wheel well and the steps. So I'm going to keep this short just for you guys, so that way we don't get too long with this video. So we can break it up into smaller steps in case somebody already knows how to do one thing, they can skip to a certain video on how to figure out how to do something else. So I think this is good for now. There would be another step up here, which firefighters would step up on. But we're not too worried about that. We can do that in another video. Thank you for watching part 3 of the Firetruck development series. Okay, bye.